Welcome back, everyone, to Tutorial Town here on Banished with the Red Ketchup Mod. Hopefully, we've got everything sorted when it comes to the music and the sound issues we were having last time around. Just to get everyone caught up to speed, we'll review. We've got pretty good food situation, 2,400 food when we've just have a little over 30 people isn't too bad. We'd like to see about 100 in storage for every person. So hopefully we can get another, get it up to about 3,000 surplus. Now we're doing great on tools. So, good job on the blacksmith here. But we're not doing very well with clothing. So maybe the theme of this episode, if you will, can be clothing. Now, if you look here, we've got 35 cotton, one cloth sitting there. So this really should be switched over to making cotton. And so that's going to make 3 to 4 cotton. So out of our batch, we should be able to make about 10 cotton. And then we can switch over and turn those cotton into jackets. Now, there are all sorts of things we could do as we expand out. You might recall last episode I said, let's build a hunting cabin so that we can start to get some leather in. So I'm actually going to put 2 hunters in here. I don't typically do this, but I'm going to do that. While we're up here, I'm going to go ahead and mark all these little cotton and flax sections so that hopefully those will get picked up and we can really get our clothing going. Now, for anyone, I doubt that anyone would be brand new to Banished altogether and starting off playing modded, but if you're not familiar, you do need clothing to help your people get through the winter time. As you can see, we're already a few winters in and our people have survived, so it's not a necessity, but it is something that will help. Now I'm going to go ahead and gather the gold and silver. We're not quite ready for it yet, but it's winter. We don't have a lot of jobs going on, so we'll go ahead and collect some of these random things. Oh, there's some more gold sitting there. So what we'll do, just to give you a sense of the resource chain, what we'll do is eventually place I keep thinking iron smelter. That's not what it's called. But there's a building that will give us the opportunity to turn any kind of, that's the foundry. Pardon me for forgetting that. This foundry here, a working area where you can smelt everything. So we'll build one of those eventually, which will allow us to turn any type of ore that we find, like the copper ore, iron ore, we'll be able to convert it faster, more efficiently. Like if you look at our blacksmith, they're turning 3 ores into 1 or 2 iron, and the foundry will do that at a 2-to-1 rate. But we don't want to rush into that just yet. It's possible in Banished to get ahead of yourself, and so we're trying to avoid that. We want to check here. Okay, we've got 2 foresters. They're bringing in some logs, but we only got 40 logs last entire year, so that's not great. We're at 0 logs right now. We need those both for building and for cutting up into firewood. So I'm going to mark some more of these trees for harvest that will hopefully help us bump up that wood a little bit. Alright, we're good on firewood. We've got 150 lumber, so I'm actually just going to let that be limited there. What you could do is you could take the worker out of it, but it's going to function the same way. This person with no work to do will act like a laborer. So we're creating some clothes. We've got some hide coats that we're cranking out. Let's see if we have any leather in yet. We've got some furs, so let's go ahead and make some warm coats with those furs. And we still have quite a bit of cotton. That must be the stuff that I just marked. They must be gathering that now. So we can start bringing that in. Pardon me, we can start converting that soon. Okay, this person should be getting the furs out of there, so we're going to ignore that for now. And since we're doing okay, let's go ahead and turn this back on to making iron tools. So let's see what the trader brought. Ooh, pepper seeds. Alright, this is good. We have kale seeds, but I'd love to be able to get some pepper seeds. The question is, do we have enough materials? Because 2,500 is a lot. And this is the seed merchant, which means they won't take food. The seed merchant will only take resources. So what do we have a lot of? We've got some tools. Oh good, we just got 12 leather. Thank you, Hunter. So now we're going to switch this over to making cloth. And then we'll be able to do one cloth, one leather. And that will make a lot more hide coats. Sorry. Back to our... I apologize for doing that quite often, bouncing back and forth. But that's a big part of what Banished is all about, is micromanaging many different things. You notice something, you address it, you move on. So the good news is we've got a seed merchant here trying to sell us pepper seeds. The bad news is we only have 235 value and we need 2,500. And when we click on something like this, you know, what am I seeing here? I'm seeing a little bit of food, but we can't, like I said, we can't trade that. I don't want to cut into our tools too much. We need an extra tool for pretty much everybody who could work. So even if we put, let's say, 10 tools in here, we're going to still be several hundred short. So I think at this point we need to stabilize clothing and start throwing things into storage for later to be purchased. We're not going to starve. We can keep gathering. So unfortunately, as much as I hate to dismiss something like this, I'm going to dismiss it for now. I'm going to do two things to prepare us for what's coming next. Here we go. So here's the hide coat I'm talking about, the leather plus one cloth. I'm going to do that. So that'll make more hide coats for us. So we should be close to being stabilized there. I'm going to do two things to help us prepare for the future. I'm going to put in a pasture field right here, so that when we get some kind of animals coming in, the people can put them there. And then I'm going to come up here and build a charcoal kiln. Now, we don't necessarily need the kiln in this instant, but it'll do two things. It'll help us maintain our fuel, because people can heat their houses with charcoal, and it will get us ready to building a foundry, which will help make it so that all this ore up here that we haven't even gathered yet, we'll be able to smelt that a little more effectively. Alright, so we've got lots of different things we could do. Here's some dead wood I'm seeing. I'll zoom in on this so you can see what I'm talking about. These trees laying down, that's dead wood. And when the people collect it, you can see there, it's turning into firewood. So that's good. And we're also going to collect that stone. It's not too far away from our center here. how are we doing on fishing on this spot? We've got some pearls coming in. Great. Let's put those. I don't know where they're storing those pearls, but I like to put pearls all the way up to 100. Pearls are worth 20, so it's nice to have valuable things like that. So if we get the 100 that I put there, that'll get us almost to a whole set of seeds, which would be really nice. I don't know that we'll get to that level, but something to work towards and keep in mind. Alright, let's mark a few more trees. We chop down. After a while, you start getting farther and farther away from your city base. Okay, now we should have some flax in storage. We'll switch this over to flax, and then we can do leather and linen. So it looks like we still have 7 leather there. Unfortunately, there's certain things that just couldn't be coded into a game like this, but they're going to take the leather out of here. There he goes. I think he's got it right there. They're going to walk the leather back to the storage, and then somebody else is going to think, oh, okay, I'll come and get the flax, and they're going to come over and get the flax, and there they go with the flax back to work, and they'll start working on that. But, you got to take it with a grain of salt, so to speak, and I think this is a pretty great game. You may already be familiar with this, but this game was developed by one person, and I think it's a pretty remarkable achievement. Now, the mod that we're playing was put together by another person, not the game developer. So things like these houses, these are modded buildings. They didn't come in the base game. But other things like the tailor and the blacksmith and the basic design, the basic mechanics of the game come from that original developer. So, I might get frustrated that a particular person doesn't do exactly what I want, but it could always be worse. I'm also going to put in another field here. Now, there are people that will tell you the exact sizes to maximize your productivity, etc., etc., but I'm not into that. I like to build things that make sense for the city that I have, and this one's coming along. So we can check our people now. We'll do that. You'll notice that I'm not trying to expand very aggressively. We could bring a road down here and start throwing up houses and clear cut all this, but I've found that the more quickly you expand, the more trouble you bring yourself with this game. So we've got some extra workers, we've got some people available. I like to mark things for gathering. Actually, now that I just said I wasn't going to do that, maybe I will mark a little bit more of this, but I like to mark things for gathering so that people have work to do, but I also don't want to make a super long list of things for people to get done. So we're going to convert firewood into charcoal. So we're basically going to take this amount of firewood and make it exponentially more. We're going to increase. And actually, we don't have a ton of people, but if we're going to expand buildings at all, which I hope to do soon, we want to make sure that our firewood limit is rising as well. So we're just plugging away here. We've converted a bunch of flax into linen. Here, I'll show you that. It shows us we just converted 20 linen. So the linen probably already made it over here. See, there's 20 linen. Do we have any and 15 leather? So that's going to be great. We'll go here to 1 leather, 1 linen, and let that work. Now, speaking of the Red Ketchup mod, there are some things you can do within Red's mod that can increase your productivity a little bit. Like this Tailor only lets you have one Tailor, but you can go, bear with me while I find it, you go in the corner section, and now if you do this, we haven't made bricks yet, so we can't do any of these brick ones. We do have some lumber, so we could do the lumber one, but I'll just click on this stone to show you. If you build this Tailor, which we could, I love the way these look, by the way. We could put this Tailor in, spin him around, and put him here on this corner. Look at this model. I know it's ghosted a little bit here, but look at this model. You see the material in there and everything. We could put this in 14 lumber, 24 stone. We don't have the glass yet, so we need to get the glass works up. But the reason I'm telling you about that is that it lets you do it. It lets you have more than one Tailor in the building, which I think is really helpful. So I've been meaning to check the people, and we need to think about getting glass going. So, all right, we've got a man and woman there. Hopefully have a child coming soon. Man and woman there with a 5-year-old girl. Got, okay, 13-year-old girl's ready to move out. How's our school? Okay, 7 students in the school. Great. Got a 17-year-old boy. They would be able to pair off. Got a 25-year-old man and a 13-year-old girl. They would be able to... Oh yeah, we definitely could use, it looks like, every bit 3 more houses, maybe even more. 15-year-old girl there. Okay. So now we have to decide, how do we want to do our housing expansion? I think an easy thing to do here is just put down another double-decker, because these folks will probably work on coastal jobs. So that's 2 more families, and then that means I need at least probably 1 more family nearby. I could put some sort of industry out here, like an iron mine, and put some mining houses. There's a lot of different ways to do it. It's really up to your own sort of style and personality. I could probably fit a mine in here. I could build a road across here, build some housing in this section, since it's all centrally located. We're actually getting very close to what I call the middle game. As you can tell, we've got 3,500 food, and it doesn't seem to really be dropping below that point very much. So we're stable. We've got a school. We've got tools are staying up. Clothing is now getting tolerable. So we want to expand, we want to stabilize even further, but deciding how to do that is a little bit of a task. So let's see what the trader... Oh, pumpkins. See, again, another vegetable seed. This would be great if we had enough to do it, but what is this going to be? Yeah, 300, 400, 600. We're like a quarter of the way there. And in an ideal world, we would say, oh, we've got a lot of firewood. Let's bring some of that over. You know, we could do firewood for 100 and lumber for 100. That would bring us another 800 towards this purchase. Here's the thing. If we tallied all of the stuff up that's just extra, that's just sitting in here, like we could bring more fodder and thatch over, we could bring more stone over. If we did all that, we're sitting here at like 1,800 or 2,000, and I just need to scrounge up 500 more, then I do that. But with this, we're so short, and we're stable, but we're not extra. We're going to need more fields eventually, but I don't think it's right now. So I'm going to go ahead and dismiss this yet again. I know some of you are probably like, why the heck did you build a seed and stock trading post if you're not going to actually buy any seed and stock? Good point. But I'll tell you what, if he had 2 cows, I would have bought those in a heartbeat. Um, it's just seed costs so much in this game. It's just part of the game mechanic that has been there for since the original game. It's in every expansion. It's a balancing factor so that you can't just run out and buy basically a cheat, to be able to buy everything that you're possibly going to need. Alright, we do have a forester here. The forester, if you look at the stats, they do usually. Looks like they're not doing it, but they do typically pick up dead wood if there is any. Let's see if there's any down here too. I like to bring this number up. We're currently keeping that pretty modest, but we'll get that raised a little bit, and hopefully we can start bringing in wood that won't be chopped up for firewood, because this is cranking out charcoal for us. And we can always put more people in there if we need it. So, alright, well, I think now that we accomplished our goal, we got our clothing stabilized a little bit. Hopefully, next time around, we can spend a little bit of time working to expand some, but also look towards getting glass production so we can move to some fancier buildings. We want to get glass and bricks going. So let's look to do that next time. Thanks for stopping by. If you learned something today, please drop a like. If you have questions, feel free to ask, because I like to teach. Thanks. Bye-bye.